Hi, and thanks again for joining us as we continue our conversation about cutover planning. I'm Lindsay Hudson, the Director of Operations Projects here at Nordic, and I'm joined by Jes Norman, one of our fantastic Willow pharmacy consultants. With my background at Epic, I worked primarily on the inpatient application, but I also worked with project directors to do go live and cutover planning. Jes, can you tell us a little bit about your background as well?
Yeah, thanks again for having me. I also worked at Epic. I was primarily on the Willow inpatient app, but I also was a project director as well. So I kind of have best of both world experience when it comes to cutover.
All right, Jes, let's talk about some potentially fun topics as well.
Okay.
So cutover obviously can get long, and as planned as you are beforehand, it is a stressful time because there's a lot on the line. We need to make sure that we get it done well and that patients are cared for seamlessly along the way.
Yeah.
So what have you done in the past to keep morale up with the folks that are part of the pharmacy cutover team?
Yeah, I think it really depends on how your team makeup is. I'm a big fan of bribing with food. I love food. I love brownies and cookies and everything chocolate. So I'm a big fan of bribing with food. We've done that. I had a site where someone, and I wish I could take credit for this, but it wasn't me. Somebody had brought in a whole bunch of rubber band guns, and
Ooh.
we had rubber band fights, which was funny.
Sounds potentially painful.
Well, you would think that, but it was funny because we were using rubber bands to bind all of the charts when we were done with a floor. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a ceremonious thing where we got done with the floor and everyone broke into this impromptu rubber band fight for a couple minutes, and then someone would inevitably pick up a rubber band and put it around the charts and then hand it over to the nursing session, and then we'd go do the next floor. But
so
it was
instead of having some kind of a drum roll as you finished a floor, you had a rubber band fight.
Yeah, sometimes you need that. So we've done that. We had another site that theirs was all race car themed. They had a theme for their go live, and they had a little car that was moving around a track on a whiteboard so you could see how close we were. And so just having that visual aid and not really interacting with any of the users outside of that, but having that visual aid of, hey, we're almost done, and it's not something as dull as my spreadsheet that I would love to use, but it's something fun like, oh, we're almost at the finish line. We can see the end, we can see the green flag, and we're going to be done soon.
Mm-hmm. Provides that big picture view to really keep in mind the progress that has been made. I know at one of my cutovers and go lives, we gave each of the pods of tables the opportunity to come up with their own theme. And I was at the project director's table, and we were the firefighters, of course, because we were ready and willing to put out fires as needed, and hopefully we didn't actually have to do that. But
that's an appropriate theme.
Every group came up with their own theme, and that added a lot of fun to the whole situation, added a little color in addition to the buffet of food that we need to constantly keep available to folks.
Exactly. Never underestimate carrot sticks, I've found.
Really?
People love carrot sticks.
Carrot sticks and brownies.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe not the greatest combination.
Go live with champions.
Excellent. All right. So tell us a little bit more of some of your stories from the trenches. Any gotchas from past go lives that you can share with us so we can learn what to avoid or maybe what to do.
Yeah. So anyone who knows me personally knows me that I have a love-hate relationship with carts and how we schedule carts in Epic, and particularly at Go Live. So there's always kind of that catch-up of, when are we going to stop the cart in the legacy system? When are we going to have the first one in Epic? And sometimes you push ahead your carts too soon, and next thing you know, you don't have a cart running in Epic. And sometimes you don't do that quick enough, and you have 2 carts running in Epic, and it includes all of your cutover orders, and you run out of label printer paper, which has happened more times than I'd like to admit. that the label printers just start spooling, and you can kind of see everyone in the pharmacy. We all know what's going to happen. We all know that it's a cart coming out and it shouldn't be. And at that point, you just have to figure out what's the best thing to do. So do you cancel the cart? Do you quickly redirect the label printer to a dummy printer so you don't waste all those labels? I had one site that it was quicker for them to just pull the label spool out of their label printer and then redirect, which I thought was really creative. That definitely kept the label printer
take away the
spinning.
source.
Yeah, take away the source, and then you're not going to be wasting all those. So the site that ended up having hundreds of extra labels has a pretty impressive label ball now, which is kind of one of those old school Epic RX things that when we were testing all of our labels, we would make a label ball and see how big it had to get before we were happy with our labels. I don't think sites do that as much anymore since there's preview now.
So how big did the label ball get? Are we talking like basketball sized or more like softball sized?
No,
beach ball?
No. We're talking between basketball and beach ball at some sites. It depends on how dense it's going to be. There was one site that it probably was only softball size, but it was heavy. I think it could have been a softball.
So it's the new meaning to the term medicine ball.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
Have a true medicine ball. So as we wrap up our conversation, Jes, do you have any other fun stories from the trenches that have been memorable for you during a cutover night?
Yeah. So maybe not so much from an education standpoint, but there was a cutover where, unfortunately, I got to be the patient.
Oh.
So I had been there, and for whatever reason, I must not have had enough caffeine keeping me going, and I ended up fainting and was taken to the ER. And it was really funny. It was probably only an hour after we had gone live. So it was a little bit after cutover, and I'm sitting in the ER bed, and the doc is coming over here, and they're checking my vitals, and he goes, "I'm sorry this is taking so long. You're going to have to forgive us, but we just started a new system, and I have no idea where anything is, and no. I don't know how to do something." And it was funny, because obviously I was an end user and I was helping and I was there, but it was even more funny because we all had bright blue shirts on that said, "Have epic questions, get answers."
And you were still wearing that shirt?
I was still wearing that shirt. They had not made me don the beautiful gown that we all look so great in. So I remember sitting in my ED bed looking at the doctor and looking at the nurse more and saying, "Well, is there something I can help you with? What workflow are you stuck on?" And with my minimal ASAP knowledge, walking through how to document my vitals quickly and more easily for the nurse. So that definitely has to be probably my most memorable go live story.
Oh, wow. Well, that's great. I think it's hilarious that you didn't quite notice your t-shirt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jes, for joining us as we've continued our conversation on cutover planning, specifically around Willow Pharmacy. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day.
Thanks.